Hey there, Starseeds! Welcome to Beyond the Cosmic Table. We're a group of friends from different cultures, backgrounds, and beliefs. We gather around our table and initiate honest and open conversations on how energy and frequencies influence what we create around us. By expanding awareness, we're able to journey with practical guidance leading to our highest awareness and conscious living. So, take a seat and join us at our table. For generations, many have followed a system of beliefs referred to as diet culture. This is where people may prioritize what they weigh or how they look above their overall well-being. The struggle can feel very real, and sometimes folks are just so overwhelmed they may give up on their health altogether. In this episode, Avani, Rose, Dianne, Susan, Julie, and I discuss how to intuitively honor your overall well-being so that your mindset and 3D body align with your spiritual shift into 5D living.
Okay, yeah. So I just thought it would be a great idea to just talk about how the way that we treat our 3D body in terms of what we eat and how we move and our mindset affects how we feel and what that means in terms of aligning with 5D.
Yeah, our people requested. And so this is what we came to the table with tonight. Yeah, I love this topic because, who hasn't been on a diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like my end of the road just happened with dieting and stuff, just happened probably about 6 months ago. Like I was just feeling so crappy, right? After like such a wonderful, like beautiful spiritual journey over 2020. And it just came to a culmination and it came to an end. And I was just emotionally and spiritually, I felt so lifted and light and connected. But my physical body wasn't in the same mood as my spiritual mind body was, right? So there I was ascending to a higher dimension and connecting with source and my higher awareness. And my physical body just couldn't keep up. And I just felt sluggish and I knew I needed to change my nutrition and not just change my nutrition, right? I had released so many limiting beliefs when it came to my spiritual journey, but I was still eating processed foods, still eating 8 o'clock at night. And so I knew better. And I knew that me and ego needed to have a heart-to-heart talk. So I just sat myself down and I just started asking myself like all these questions. Like, okay, well, why are you eating what you're eating? Why do you go out? Why do you go downstairs at 8 o'clock at night and then decide to eat dinner? Why are you driving home, going through the drive-thru at McDonald's and picking up dinner at a drive-thru at McDonald's? And if you know your body can't handle sugar, doesn't know how to process sugar, why are you eating sugar? And so I was just asking myself all these questions and just really getting down to starting to ask myself questions like, well, what would make you feel better? Well, when I eat healthier things, I feel better. And so we just decided that, you know what, we're just going to start eating what makes us feel better. Mm-hmm. We're going to start doing what makes us physically feel better. I just really wanted to catch up to my spiritual journey, my physical journey as well.
Yeah. And honor the vessel, the body that carries you, because without that body, you have to take care of it.
Yeah.
I think at some points also, kind of what you said, Rose, when you feel like your body just got so heavy, not physically, but just, you felt like you weren't eating what your body needed. I think there is something to say about a detox fast or something like that, just to help kind of cleanse your body of all those toxins and those foods that you put in. I mean, I don't recommend somebody do it, just blindly, but I know that there have been times when I've detoxed because I felt like I've just eaten terribly and I didn't feel good about it. Like internally, I didn't feel good about it. And it's great to just like flush everything out. And even if you're not taking like any like supplements, I mean, I'm not one to recommend any of that, but just a natural detox of just, eating a very light meal or just a light load the next day really helps you kind of just cleanse that internal vessel that we have. And I just immediately feel better within 24 hours after doing something like that.
Yeah, like I literally, like, because I wasn't satisfied with anything I ate, anything. Like I could have a steak and lobster meal and I just didn't feel satisfied. And so for a whole week, I just sat with myself and I'm like, okay. So I would drink water and just kind of relish in the water and appreciate the water and realize, wow, I feel refreshed. The water is refreshing. I don't need anything with carbonation right now. I don't need to add sugar to my coffee because this water feels really good. And then I was only eating for about a week. I was only eating when I was hungry. And then when I would eat, I would eat something fresh, even if it was like a tomato for breakfast, right? Or mushrooms for dinner. It was something very simple like that that I got back to and really wanted to enjoy the food.
So intuitive eating is kind of like a buzz phrase that's been going around a while. And I know a lot of people are confused about what that means too. But what you're describing, Rose, is exactly that. You've been intuitively eating. You've been listening to your body. You've been recognizing like, why am I eating this? And I don't want that. And I think that's just important to listen to our body because we've been conditioned to follow other people's idea of how we should eat, whether it's following a specific diet or whatever. And also, looking at food's not moral. It's not good or bad. Yeah, there's food that has no nutritional value and then there's food that does. But it doesn't mean we're here to experience life at its fullest. And that includes pizza and donuts and burgers and whatnot. But it's finding that balance and understanding like, well, okay, if I treat myself to this pizza, there might be some side effects to that, but I'm aware of it and I eat this in moderation. And the majority of my diet is eating food that I know is nutritious for my body. And that doesn't always look the same too, which I discovered recently, that not all healthy food is healthy for everyone. There could be food sensitivities, like somebody might be really sensitive to Brussels sprouts. Well, in the whole big scheme of things, Brussels sprouts is deemed healthy, but it might not be healthy for the person that has a food sensitivity and ends up in the bathroom after eating Brussels sprouts for dinner. You know what I'm saying? So it's just knowing your body, knowing how your body reacts to certain foods, what foods make you feel good, what foods make you feel tired, because some people can eat, drink Coke, and have 8 ounces of water every Tuesday and that's it. Like some people we know. And
That's
not
so weird.
or, and just not even eat like a quote unquote healthy diet and have no like negative effects to it.
Right.
And then there's other people that can eat like would be considered a very healthy diet and still be struggling with digestive issues or whatever, because they don't have a clue that what they're eating, just because it's considered healthy, isn't, their body's not reacting in a negative way because they have a sensitivity to it. So it's just like understanding our bodies and that everybody is individual and not every way of eating works the same for everyone. And that's what intuitive eating is. It's just knowing what your body needs, knowing that, if you eat something that makes you feel dense and heavy, like you're aware, you're not like unconsciously eating. And then, because I used to do that, I used to just eat whatever. And then I'd be so tired and I would never understand why I was tired. I wouldn't connect the dots.
Yeah, like, and not just that, but it's like, okay, well, eat your biggest meal at noon, right? Eat your lightest meal for dinner. Or, eat 6 small meals a day, snack at 10, lunch at 12, snack at 2, dinner at 5, all these like preset notions that you can literally just throw out the window and just intuitively listen to what your body wants, what it needs, and what it appreciates and what feels best for you.
Right.
was curious when you said about, you feel tired after eating and things like that. So, did you find that that was due to specific foods that was causing that, or that there was something else going on that made you tired after eating in general?
I would say for me, I notice with specific foods, usually if it's something high in carbs. So a great example, just today, I had great energy all day and I ate a very late lunch, and I often eat breakfast for lunch. And I made some hash browns and eggs. So potatoes, healthy, eggs, healthy. But I think that the heaviness from the starch in the potatoes, the minute I was done eating, I just hit a lull. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And that happens when I eat stuff like that in the middle of the day too. Like I don't notice it as much at night because I'm usually ready to just relax at night anyway. But if I eat something a little more on the heavier side in like the middle of the day when I'm not ready to hit my wall yet, and I'm already hitting my wall, I do intermittent fasting, and not for any other reason than I have the most energy when I don't have any food in me. When I just wake up and I drink a ton of water and I wait until noon usually to eat, I feel like I have my best energy in the morning. And then once I eat a meal, and the heavier it is, the worse I feel. But so yeah, I guess to answer your question, it's not just heavy meals, because even if I were to have a banana, I already feel like that banana drops my energy level, believe it or not. You'd think it'd be the opposite with the sugar from the banana. Yeah, it's interesting, but that's something to pay attention to, really, to just be mindful of what you eat and how you feel after you eat it and keep track of it.
Yeah, that's literally what I did when I came to my dead end wall. I just spent a month really eating what I felt my body wanted to eat, and then journaling like how I felt after I ate it.
That's great.
Yeah. And like what worked, what didn't work, and then other modalities other than nutrition would find their way to me. Like I started in my morning showers. One morning, I just started like rubbing the soles of my feet, right? Spending extra time, literally like 10 minutes, like 5 minutes on each foot, just kind of rubbing the soles of my feet in like a specific location. And I would do each foot and then start my day. At the end of the shower, start my day. And about a couple of weeks later, probably mid-January, it just so happened I popped across a reflexology chart. And I'm like, oh, I've been rubbing the soles of my feet. And at this point, I'm probably 2 months into not taking any kind of medication for my diabetes and still able to control my sugars. And I look at the reflexology chart, and lo and behold, what I had pinpointed on my feet was to help my pancreas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there are specific pressure points on the soles of your feet, much like a lymphatic massage or something, some kind of reflexology massage, that helps get that body organ going and working.
I was just going to chime in. We talked about so many of us do the emotional eating when you're stressed and stuff, but everyone knows that I had such bad digestion and abdominal problems for so many years. Well, it was the flip side where you're almost terrified to eat something, because over the years you've gotten sick every time you ate a tomato, or every time you've gotten sick when you ate a Brussels sprout or whatever, and those healthy foods. And so now that I've worked on so many of my emotions and my overall body and flipping everything around a little bit within me, there was one day I'm just like, I can't fear this food. I can't live in fear of eating something. And so I did. I just, like Rose said, have a tomato for breakfast if you want it. And, I may still have some issues, but it's nothing, I wasn't sick from it. And just accepting that you don't have to be in fear if you've always had those abdominal problems, is that your body can change and adjust and, reset. You guys know I had that reset of my own in January. So, yeah, a lot of things can switch, but it's a different side of the emotional part of it.
Right. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, the whole fear thing too, because I think that when we do because I was having some issues last year, that went on a long time, and I was in fear of eating food. And then one day I just said, screw it. I'm sick anyway. So I'm just going to eat this bad thing. And it was legitimately when I let go and I was just like, forget about it. I'm eating what I want, that my problem went away the next day, because I was expecting the next morning to wake up sicker than sick. And I wasn't. And I'm like, what's this all about? So I think there's a lot to be said about the energy that you put into that fear towards certain foods, that maybe that's what's fueling the sickness, is that your energy and your focus towards it. So glad you brought that up.
And we may have like some digestive problems, but it's like, it was worth it for something, but that fear is gone. Like if I'm out and if I want to have some cheese on my salad, fine. A tomato for breakfast, it's fine.
Think about a lot of those people. You bring up a good point, because those, a lot of people eat or don't eat because of that body image, right? Like, oh, I can't eat this. It's going to make me fat. Just like what Kim was saying, right? I can't eat this because my body can't digest it, or it's going to, do something detrimental. It's like, how many times do people have that thought process that I can't eat this because, and it's just based on an irrational fear, nothing else. And when we say we're going to eat this because it's going to make us fat, guess what it ends up doing? It doesn't help us overcome that fear, recognize the fact that this is really not the reason that's making you quote unquote fat.
The other thing is that so many people don't realize that if you deprive your body, some people go on this 700 or 800 calorie diet. If you're starving yourself, then your body's going to start reserving anything that it gets, because it doesn't think it's going to get more food. So, I actually, think sometimes it's better just to, feed your body exactly like we were talking about, the intuitive eating. If you've been on the run all day, and yeah, sure, you may have hit your X amount of calories for the day, but if you've been on the run all day and you've been sweating and all that kind of stuff, you may need to have some, extra calories before you go to bed, just to keep yourself, keep your body sugar metabolism, whatever it needs to be. So don't starve yourself, I think, is something else that people try to do.
Yeah, I definitely think just the energy around food in general, through our thoughts and beliefs around it, make all the difference. And I wanted to touch on, Dianne, because I know you know a lot around this, just the vibration of food in general, like the vibration of different foods, and setting your intention before eating food, and how important that is. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, specifically, like you said, just setting your intention before you sit down. We know that, you can charge water with love or kindness or emotions. Food is the same way. Just have it, setting the intention that it's going to fuel your body, and your body's going to utilize it for all the nutrients that it needs. As far as the vibration side of it, there's different thought forms out there that certain food does have like a lower karma and a higher karma, but that a lot of it is just a lot of common sense, of course. Like, eating meat is lower vibrational, because it is something that is, we don't want to say it, but it is dead. It's a dead animal. Sometimes like the eggs and cheeses and stuff, that's something that has come from an animal. So it's maybe perhaps another lower vibration because it's from another living thing. But then as you go higher up the chart, you have like the vegetables, the lettuces, the spinaches, the fruits then go higher. And then the superfoods, seaweed and almonds and spirulina and the goji berries and all that kind of stuff. And then even higher, like the wheatgrass and the essential oils and stuff like that. So there is a vibrational part to each of those, but a lot of that's just common sense. So.
Once like 5.5 years ago, I gave up alcohol, and I also stopped eating meat. And for some reason, for me personally, I think it helped me in my spiritual journey. I didn't feel, I know sometimes alcohol is just a great escape for your current reality. So it forced me to kind of just take in everything without that escape. And then not eating meat also was that denser food, and I started kind of eating a little bit more lighter and making different choices in my food. But it really did help open me up spiritually too. For some reason, it just kind of helped my channels be clearer and really more open to connect.
That's great. I'm feeling the same too, with regard to like the heavier, dense foods. I'm less drawn to them don't get me wrong. I still, enjoy a good burger every now and again, but I maybe eat red meat once a month. It very rarely sounds good to me. And I'm more drawn to the higher vibration food, plants, fruits, things like that. I don't always remember, but I do try to set my intention before eating, asking for everything that my body needs from the food that I'm going to eat, to get that from the food and release anything that isn't for my highest. And I feel when I do that, that really does make a difference.
Yeah, it does, Kim. And like, even for me, like, I know when I'm such a little rebel, when mom says no, what is it that you want to do? Anything that mom told you not to do, you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so ego is all about what you can't have. And my diets before have always been around what I can't have. So this time around, I was like, you know what? I need this to stick. I'm on such a beautiful spiritual journey right now. My body deserves to be on that same journey with me. And it's coming with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be aligned with the mind that I'm in right now, the process that I'm in right now. And so I decided, you know what? There are no limitations to what I can't have. And there are no limitations to what I can have. I can eat whatever it is I want. And as soon as I authentically embraced that, I didn't want McDonald's French fries anymore. I didn't want to stop and get that Popeye's hot chicken spicy sandwich with mayo anymore, right? Although that might be a little trigger right now. But
sounds like it.
A little bit. But like, as soon as I allowed myself, anything was attainable, anything was in my diet, whatever it is you want, you can have. And as soon as I authentically embraced that, I didn't want that stuff anymore. I didn't want, like, I haven't put sugar into anything. Like, and I'm talking like sugar additives. I haven't used Splenda, anything, like, since I had that heart to heart with myself.
I think you giving yourself that freedom definitely makes the difference, because when we restrict ourselves, it's like, that's all we think about. Like you said, like, I can't have it, so I want it. And when I free myself of these like rules, it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is we've all heard is, food is medicine. And that was something we were kind of talking on before the call. Like, so the Chinese medicine, they've also talked about looking into like your body constitution and looking at, like, you can have internal fire or internal colds, that there's external influences, and then you have a natural internal influence. So like for me, I know that I have a sluggish lymphatic system, so my system is really slow and more on the cold side. So I know for me, it's good to eat warming foods, like that have warm properties to them. And then there's other people that have really warm constitutions, so they do really good with like eating a lot of fruits that are very cooling to the body. Like celery is very cooling food to the body. So it's a whole nother thought form that people can look into if that's something that may resonate with them. If like they think, oh, I'm eating fruit all the time. Well, if you already have a internal cold constitution, then you're just you're just like freezing your body internally. So food as medicine is another powerful thing to look at for some people.
Yeah.
They do that in India as well. And they do it based on the seasons. So when it's, the summers are intense, right? In India and a lot of other parts of the world, where they eat those cooling foods, they have like lemon water, or there's other foods that are just really help cool the body down. And then in the winter, you're eating those warm foods that keep your body insulated. A lot of ghee, because it's fat and your body needs that fat to stay warm in the winter. So some of these ancient cultures have a lot of thought around food that are now becoming more scientific. I think back then, they were just based on, different ideas, but now science is really backing a lot of those cultures now.
I also heard too this analogy of what are those plants, like a power plant? You've got a power plant, and certain people, their bodies operate from different types of fuel better. And kind of like you were talking about the warm or the cold type of thing. So some people that they need more of the, vegetables, the carbs, the quick energy, and that they really thrive on that. And that's what gives them a lot of energy. As soon as they have something heavy like meat, it slows them down. But that there's actually other people that their furnaces run a little bit hotter. And so they need the heavier foods, and that's what gives them energy. And as soon as you start introducing some of the carbs, it slows everything down. So it's, that's the whole idea that you were talking about at the beginning, Kim, that these different diets and these preconceived, it's all set up for you and this is what's going to work. The same thing doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
And that's why, doing the intuitive eating and really having those conversations with yourself, like you're talking about, Rose, is the key.
For sure. And I think just waking up and setting your intention for the day in terms of your energy altogether is so important. I've put into routine now every day to wake up. I have sticky notes over here on my wall as reminders when I come in. How do I want to feel? Because before, you wake up and your alarm goes off and you kind of resist the day. Oh, I want to go back to sleep. I'm tired. I don't want to log into work or go to work or whatever your case is. That mindset is forming your whole day before you're even starting it. I come into my office and I have these reminders and sitting in front of me. And I start my day with jumping jacks. I want to get my blood flowing, my energy moving, get the chi going. So I'll do 20 jumping jacks. And then I'll do some leg raises, and then I'll do some stretching, and then I'll do some breathing. And then I look and I have a note to remind myself, what do I need today? And there's sometimes that I'll be working throughout my day and I'll just always check in with myself. What do I need today? And sometimes that looks like going for a walk. And sometimes that looks like taking a nap. And it's all around your belief around what those things can do for you as well. Because prior to changing my mindset around all of that, I used to want to nap all the time and I would feel horrible about it. I would think that the fact that I wanted a nap made me feel like I was lazy and I wasn't getting something done and I shouldn't have to nap because I had my full 7 or 8 hours of sleep. Why am I tired? Well, now I give myself grace and I listen to my body. And sometimes I think, do I truly want a nap? And I'm able to just go inside and I really do need a nap. Or no, it feels like you need a nap, but really what you need is to get outside and get some fresh air and sunshine. So it's really listening to your body for everything. Or, sometimes I used to get down on myself because meditation is really wonderful. I would like to meditate every day, but sometimes I resist it. And I felt bad about that. Why am I resisting it? Well, then I started to check in with myself. You know what? Sometimes I don't need to sit and meditate. Sometimes I do. I think we look at different things and we see these rules around things. And if we're not doing it a certain way, then we're not doing it right, then we don't want to do it at all. And that's kind of how my outlook was with meditating, and now that I look at it well, I will know when my spirit needs to sit down and get quiet and, receive information. And that's been working out really well for me. I stopped putting that pressure on myself, around how I feel when I want to take a nap or when I do or don't want to meditate or whatever. And I think that energy around how we feel about the things that we do changes everything as well and puts us more aligned with 5D.
Yeah. So when I was at the end of my road and I had just had a phenomenal 2020, even though the world may not have had a phenomenal 2020, I thought I was kicking ass all the way through it. I was on this beautiful spiritual journey and my body just wasn't feeling it. And I decided that, you know what, I need to look at this just like the spiritual journey I took with my mind. With my mind, I had to release so many limiting beliefs that were installed in me through outside sources. And I just decided that, you know what, much like the spiritual journey that I took my mind on, it's the same spiritual journey that I needed to take my body on. Like I had to release those limiting beliefs about my body. And what I mean by that is like, you know what? I don't have to have breakfast. I don't have to eat if I'm not hungry. Like, why am I eating if I'm not hungry? And there were a lot of limiting beliefs. Like, I would have never woken up and gone to the fridge if I was hungry and grabbed mushrooms, right? And just ate raw mushrooms for breakfast. And I did that the other morning. And I was sitting there enjoying my mushrooms, drinking some black coffee. And I'm like, who am I? Right? But it was such a beautiful moment because it reminded me that I've released so many limiting beliefs. Here I am sitting in the happiness of black coffee and eating mushrooms for breakfast, right? We just have to remind ourselves that it's much like our spiritual journey. Our body is the same, you know? And I feel like some of us coincide their spiritual journey with their physical journey. So you've got to be conscious that, hey, you've got a body that you've got to tug along with this journey. So we just, you just want to be more thoughtful and process it much like you would your spiritual journey.
When you are doing a lot of journeys, coaches always tell you to pick one area first to try, and pick the area that would change all of the other areas if you were to achieve in that. And I've always picked the health and wellness because that to me is one that would just change my confidence and all of that on every other of those aspects, your career and your spiritual journeys, all of that stuff. So it was always, I think it's one of the biggest ones.
Well, I think the takeaway here, in terms of why this topic was brought up from a couple of people that listen to our podcast as a topic they were interested in having us discuss, is because I think this is like something that weighs on a lot of people, whether it's because they're trying to lose weight or they recognize that they're not eating in a way that's for their highest good, for their physical body. And I think that really it all comes down to mindset and beliefs and just reframing your thoughts around what eating looks like. Let go of all the rules that we were conditioned to believe around how we should eat, what we should look like, how we should weigh. Because if you're focused on the weight loss, the energy that you're putting out there is that I want to lose weight, but that I think that energy that says is that you have that attitude like I have all this weight to lose, and that's where your focus is. And why am I not losing it fast enough? And you might get on the scale and you're not seeing the numbers go in the direction that you want, or it's not happening fast enough. Or I think that if you really just like flip the switch and focus on taking care of your body, the weight loss will just be a byproduct of that. So it'll just come off naturally. If you take the focus off the time that it takes and exactly how you want to look and all of that, and you really just focus on taking care of your health, your natural body will just transpire. We all have a vision of how we want our body to look, but really what we need to focus on is just taking ultimate care of our body. And it might not ever look like you want it to look. And then there's people out there that have quote unquote the perfect body, but they're not healthy. Or, people are just so worried about their aesthetics that they'll do whatever it takes. Like you said earlier about the reduced calorie, I'm only going to eat 800 calories because less calories in, more calories burned will equal this weight that I want, and then also, a lot of people focus on the number on the scale when, well, if you're working out and you're lifting weights because you want to have strong muscles and strong bones, that's very important for your physical body. Well, that's going to really change the number on the scale and you might weigh more. But if you have this belief that you need to weigh a certain number on the scale, you just really have to focus on what you're doing versus a number on the scale or following a specific diet or looking a certain way. And I think it's just more important to worry about how you feel than how you look. That's my opinion.
Agreed.
Do you guys feel that you pretty much eat intuitively and have that same kind of mindset at this point on your journey?
I honestly, I think mine is a journey for something that, and I've fought this for a long time. So it's a long journey. I've been trying to delve into all different kinds of things, emotions that I'm holding on to, or why I might have extra weight I want to lose. But I've been really digging in for a long time, though, about why I do it. Why do I turn to food and other people turn to other things? I turn to food and I do it to feel good in that moment. And that's why most people do that. So why do I need to feel good at that moment? There's so many different reasons of why the shame is a big, huge ball topic that a lot of us will eat, and we're trying to cover it. And that's why we eat a brownie or something, because it makes us feel good, because we don't feel good because we're feeling that shame. And so the more you can dig in to why you're being drawn to that food or whatever device it is, then you can start unraveling and unfolding what those emotions are. And a lot of them, there's a lot of emotions there, because I've been doing this for a long time, a couple of years, and I've been doing the bigger part of it longer, but the last couple of years I've been doing the emotion code release. Thank you, Dianne. And the meditation and all of that. So there might be a lot of layers to release, which is fine. That's why I say it's a journey. So I'm at the point now, though, even though I feel like I want to or would love to release, I don't know, 30 pounds, but I'm not mad at myself anymore. I don't have that shame anymore. I'm at a turning point these last couple months, which is really, really fun and interesting. So building that self-love and releasing the emotions that are holding tight to that thing now. And now I'm also taking on the identity of the Julie that is in that size 8 or whatever that perfect size is for me. Maybe it is where I'm at right now. But when I look in the mirror, I don't have a lot of bad feelings towards myself anymore. I shouldn't say it that way. I don't have any. And I'm still putting on some clothes then the size that I don't really like that number, but I don't feel the same way I do at myself. So I think for a lot of us, it's a journey too. And it's part of your spiritual journey to uncover what's turning you to that way. And those are the breadcrumbs of where you can find that relief.
Julie, you hit on a really good point, because I've seen that with some of my hypnotherapy clients that, they come to you because of, weight. But then when you really uncover such beautiful other things that come out, right? Sometimes that weight loss is just the surface, and what's underneath it is really what needs to be pulled out, or kind of just brought to the surface. So you bring up a really good point, because a lot of times that is just a really small percentage of what is really going on emotionally in that person. And sometimes you don't even know it. And then that's when that emotional eating comes, because your subconscious is carrying all these traumas, and you may not even really be aware of everything that you're holding on to.
And isn't it interesting that in the 3D world, we're looked at that's bad, shame on you, you should be thin and beautiful and blah, blah, blah. But in the 5D world, that's our clue. That's, hey, you need to start here because, hey, you're not where you want to be, where you think you want to be anyway. So that's your clue. That's where you start. But we're not told to look at it that way. So I think, and that's just a discovery I've had, in the last couple months. So it's been actually really fun because I know that's where I need to spend the time.
Well, and Julie, you're right. So many times, I've had some clients that have come to me for emotions, and they mention about the weight, and I would say, well, what are you holding on to? And for them, it's like a wake-up call. They never thought about the emotions, the history, the anchors that they're carrying emotionally. Maybe they fought with family members they haven't spoke to in years, and they're holding grudges, or maybe they have grudges against other people, and they don't realize that's holding on to energy, and that can equate to, weight gain, because that means they're holding on to something so tight that they can't release it. Just another way to look at it with the emotions. So yeah.
Yeah, you guys are doing an amazing thing for people. Helping them release that emotion. Dianne, you've done a lot for me. It's amazing.
Yeah, I like to call it my 5D journey on my 3D diet.
I love that. I got to write that down.
That's a
And
good
where
one.
does dark chocolate fit in on our high vibe? I hope it's a high vibe food
It does.
because I'm
It's
not
very
giving
high
it up for
vibrational.
sure.
It's very high
vibrational.
vibrational.
Yeah, and there are certain foods, I'm sure you guys have this right. Like dark chocolate is one of those things that just feeds my soul. And, maybe I don't, have like huge chunks of it, right? But a little bit every day definitely just makes me feel good.
It is raw chocolate is very high on the superfoods list. So just so you know,
Is that cacao? Is it listed as cacao on the list?
raw chocolate and raw cacao is on the same box. So
Okay.
it's like 15 megahertz. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know what else I saw the other day that was helpful for me to remember too, because I love sugar, but I really try to limit it. Treat sugar as a recreational drug. That was helpful to me to look at it that way, because I mean, it really is like sugar. It is a drug. It really is.
And that's true, though. Sugar is a recreational drug because it is, I think, the most addicting substance, pretty much, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I've eliminated a lot of sugar out of mine. Like I no longer add it to coffee or, anything else. Gosh, the withdrawals that you have when you can't, and it's almost like you feel like you can't stop. You can't not put sugar in it, and then one day you just realize that you don't need it anymore and you feel really proud of it, but it is quite certainly an addiction.
Mm-hmm. Then again, though, is it? That's our belief. That's our belief around it. Goes back to, where we put our focus and what we believe. So, and making
See,
food
yeah, if
moral.
we say that sugar is quote unquote bad and we want to quit it, but then we have a hard, it is kind of that cycle, right?
Yeah.
Of what's good, what's bad, what I should eat, what I shouldn't eat, right?
I
We
think-
have these dramas that play on in our head.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we, to look at sugar or anything like that, well, how does it make me feel? When I eat sugar, sometimes it makes me feel really happy, but other times I feel that I get that crash, or honestly, my body personally doesn't do well with sugar. I feel it messes up my digestion, and yeah, it's different for everybody.
Different for everybody. But I feel like if we left this podcast here today, I just want to say that you, Miss Kim, who is living your best life, hiking your life away in these beautiful places in Arizona, posted a picture. It was probably a month or two back. And you have been on some diet journeys, right? And you posted this beautiful picture. And under the caption, I think it was you of 10 years ago? Was it 10? 10 years ago?
I'm trying to think of what you're talking about.
Your much different physical picture of yourself.
Oh, in our spirit group. I'm sorry. I thought you meant on my normal face. So I just shared it with you guys. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So you shared a picture of yourself 10 years ago.
Okay. I remember.
And you were like, I thought you guys would get a kick out of this because, you're living your hiking life in Arizona, your beautiful life now. And you mentioned, wow, look at this, and I was like, you know what? All I saw was a much more aligned physical you now with the spiritual you now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, I know what that girl felt like back then. So
yeah,
she didn't feel like she does now. That's for sure. So yeah, definitely, honoring your health. That's how I like to look at it. Just honoring my health. I'm not on a diet. I'm not exercising to lose weight. I'm not doing anything other than just trying to honor my health the best I can and living a life of balance, and enjoying those treats every once in a while, because that's what we're here for, to enjoy everything that this life has to offer. And that includes pizza and donuts and all that yummy stuff.
Chocolate.
And chocolate. Heck yeah.
Lemon vodka.
And for some of us, lemon vodka.
And on that note.
All right. Well, thanks. I think that this is a fun topic. I could talk about nutrition and all that all night long. All right.
Good talk, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
I know that weight, health, and wellness are top of mind for so many of you. If you're interested in guidance and support in this area, this is my passion and purpose, and I would love to hear from you and get a conversation started. You can find me on Instagram at The Inner Work Practice. Follow me there and send me a message so we can chat. And make sure you mention this podcast. We're really enjoying sharing our conversations with you. As always, we welcome ideas for future discussions. Connect with us on Instagram if you would like to recommend a topic that has been on your mind. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate us. Let us know what you think of our podcast so far so that we can make this the best listening experience for you. We'll be back next Tuesday for another conversation around the cosmic table. Have a great rest of the week.